What's going on, guys? Tyler with Death Valley Mining, and today's project is, as you can see, the garage is an absolute disaster. So I'm not going to be recording that because obviously that's not good content, but that is what I'm going to be doing. So this next clip you'll see the house will be clean, or sorry, not the house, the garage. The garage will be clean and crypto mining worthy, I guess is the best way to explain it. So go ahead and get starting on that here, and the next clip you'll see everything will be clean and ready to go ahead and start setting up some mining rigs. Alrighty, so it's been about 5 hours, and I know it doesn't look like it, but I actually have disassembled completely every rig now. So I've got everything broken down and put into these bins, all my cables, and they are kind of bundled by the power supply they came off of. I've got risers and riser cables probably for the rest of my life, even though I'm probably not going to reuse a ton of those on my motherboards. And kind of my plan here is I'm clearing out this side of the garage. So that's going to be leaving. And then I just cleared out this rack. I'm going to be swapping this rack with my rack here that I currently have my rig on, because this one's a lot taller and it's a little bit wider as well. So I'm going to be setting that up over here so I can go ahead and get my rig set up, and we'll kind of go, and I'm going to do that now off camera, and then I'll come back once that's completed. All right, and 2 seconds for you and more like 6 hours for me, and the garage is as clean as it's going to be for now. But this is essentially going to be basically where I'm going to focus most of my channel, is this corner. I've kind of dedicated this portion of my garage to my mining, and as I see fit, I'll expand it as needed. Hopefully one day we get to the point where we need a second shelf. So that means things are going well. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of show you all the pieces and components that kind of came out of this big lot that you saw in the last video. Risers. I mean, this whole bin is just full of riser cables. This is probably 200 risers itself. Who knows if I'll ever use those? All these are used, so they'd all need to be cleaned, and I'm probably not going to use them anyways, but you never know. If I need them, I have them. I've got 5 motherboards here. They're all in those boxes, and then I've got about 13 other motherboards here, and these are all, BTC Miner Experts or ASUS Miner Pros or so on and so forth. Different mining motherboards. Who knows if I'm going to reuse those, but for now, this is going to be the main setup. I'm going to have 5 rigs, 8 cards each, so we're going to have 40 cards on this shelf here. And now that I'm thinking about it, I have more cards than that, so I probably will end up getting another shelf here and having maybe 2 to 3 other rigs. I think I'm going to be operating about 60 GPUs, at least to start. And who knows, if things go well, I'll expand. But a big problem that I'm dealing with right now is actually going to be power. I've got this outlet here, but obviously I can't run all these cards off of one outlet. It's only a 30 amp breaker. So I'm going to have to figure out where else I can pull power from that's on a different breaker on my panel on the outside of my house. I've got a 200 amp panel, but I'll go ahead and see where I can pull power from. That way I can go ahead and power all these rigs. But that's a problem for another day. Right now I've got this is my rig that I had on this shelf over here. I've swapped these 2 shelves because this one's a little bit wider and has an extra shelf. So I decided this is what I'm gonna actually use to be mining on. This is my original mining rig that I've been using for the last few months now. This is an 8 card rig. It's got 3 3070s and 5 3060 Ti's. So I'm going to be rebuilding this rig because all of these cards are on one of these old, basically kind of similar to like an Octominer motherboard, where the GPU actually slips directly into the motherboard, and it's super long. The motherboard's about, it goes all the way to here. I want to get rid of that. I want to go and use a riser setup on normal motherboards. I think it's just cleaner. And these rigs, these mining frames aren't designed for this type. I'm actually having to pry these down, which isn't good for the cards or anything. So I want to get rid of that. I've also drilled a ton of holes into this one. I ended up having 15 of these black mining frames. So I basically picked out 5 that were in pretty good shape, cleaned them up. Those are the 5 that I'm going to use first. I'm going to swap this one over to a new frame that I haven't drilled a million holes into. As you can see on the top, I've drilled a ton of holes into the top of this one, and it's kind of jerry-rigged all around. So I want to redo this rig, get it set up the right way. That way, moving forward, I don't have to worry about it. This shelf is going to be the first 5 rigs, which will be the first 40 cards that'll be in operation. And then from there, we'll expand as needed. So this is kind of the aftermath, now that I've taken everything apart, of that big build out that I did. And that can actually show, I'll do another clip here in a sec, and I'll show you how many power supplies I ended up with. It's pretty crazy. Alrighty, so this bin is nothing but power supplies. There's a couple, I think there's 2 or 3 of them where all the cables are attached to the power supply, so I couldn't disconnect everything. But everything else in here is just power supplies, stacked 2 deep. So I've got 2 rows of EVGA 850 G5s, which are actually really nice power supplies. And then I've got probably 15 or so of the Segotep, might be saying that wrong, 1250 watt gold power supplies. So I'm going to be mainly using the EVGA power supplies, but who knows, I might mess with these too. I'll probably do half and half. That way I can kind of test and see which ones I like the best. And then fortunately, I have enough where I could set up all the rigs on one type. So what I'll probably do is I'll set half of them up one way, half of them up the other. And then depending on which one I like, I'll just swap them over to that power supply. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. So between the power supplies and all the other equipment that I have here, basically used components from all the rigs that were part of that big lot that I purchased, I think I'm good on parts, at least for a long time. I can build as many rigs as I want to for the foreseeable future, and I won't have to worry about hardware. Now, keep in mind, a lot of this stuff is used, and I'm gonna need to go ahead and go through and clean that. I probably won't be using any of these risers because I do have about 70 of them right here that are all brand new. So I'm gonna deplete that stock, and then if I need to, I'll go ahead and use some of these used ones. But for now, I'm just gonna keep those. I was tempting, I was gonna maybe throw those away, but I'm just gonna keep them. That way, if I need them, they're there. But anyways, future things to do. But that's gonna be it for this one. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next video.